So, as you may have already guessed, this video is obviously about video games. Now, I'm going to be listing my top 10 as displayed by the title below. So let's get right to it. Number 10, Payday 2. I like Payday 2 because you get to play as a criminal, and who doesn't like playing as a criminal? You go and steal a wide variety of things, such as money, private information, and even you rob the FBI at one point. So, it's obviously a crazy game. It's a first-person shooter, and it takes place in Washington, D.C. You work with a bunch of kingpins, drug dealers, well, not so much drug dealers, drug lords, and other criminals, such as a politician at one point. You work with mainly 3 other people, and you play as one person. It's a crew of 4 people. And playing by yourself is not as fun as playing with other people because you never know what the outcome is going to be. And you earn a lot of money in this game. You get a lot of upgrades, you get a lot of different stuff to do, and it's really fun. I recommend that you play this game, and as well as any of the other games that I have on this list. So yeah, that's number 10. Number 9, Minecraft. Now, you all know what Minecraft is, or you should at least. If you don't, I'll tell you about it. It's a game that has to do with you building things and surviving creatures in survival mode. But anyways, I've mostly played this on Xbox 360, the Xbox 360 edition. Actually, no, I shouldn't grab it. But I've also played on PC, and I have to say, this is one of the most addicting and fun games, because it literally never ends. You can do it to the point where you defeat the Ender Dragon, but what else are you going to do? Like, are you just going to live out your life? After that, it gets pretty boring, but there is still an infinite amount of things that you can build in Minecraft. And like I said before, I recommend that you play this game at least once. Try it. Number 8, Call of Duty 2. Now you might be wondering, why Call of Duty 2? Most people would prefer the new Black Ops series or the Modern Warfare series. Well, I like Call of Duty 2 because of one mission in particular, the D-Day mission. It's probably the most accurate description of what it was like in the 40s and during World War II in wartime when they stormed Normandy Beach. Now, in reality, the beach I'm pretty sure is about 100 yards, but they make it about 20-25 in the game. But it's so brutally realistic that it's just, you just think, how could this have been real? Well, it was. It was. Any other NPC that you see besides your main platoon is actually dying. All those other NPCs you see die. Not only that, when you storm the bunkers on once you get up the cliff, it's not just, a couple people firing at you like 2, 3, or 4. It's like 8, 9, 10, hell, even 12. So it's really serious, and it's a really hard mission, but it's so well done, though. And that's one reason why I like it so much. Not only that, it explains what happens during the middle of the war. Not at the end of the war, not at the beginning of the war, during the middle of it. Probably the hardest time, where everybody was either winning or losing battles, which was hard on both parts. And that's why I like Call of Duty 2. Number 7, Telltale's The Walking Dead. This is Season 1 in particular. I like Season 1 because it's a different character besides Clementine, and we're finding out who Clementine is. Now, it does have a side ending, spoiler alert. Lee does die if you haven't played it. I guess I'll have to put a warning at the beginning. But it's an interesting story. It's at the start of the apocalypse, and you're building a relationship with Lee and Clementine as you play through the game. And what I like specifically about Telltale games is that for every decision that you make, it affects the story. Like, some parts of the story may have a difference, such as certain characters being alive later on in the game. And that's interesting, but some have to do with, like, people getting shot or, attacks happening even. And it's a really interesting story. And I like the development that Clementine goes throughout the story, how she goes from this little girl to this girl who has to kill pretty much her best friend through the apocalypse. And she becomes stronger through this story. And it's so beautifully done. It's not that cinematic nice but it's about the story, really. And you gotta really respect Telltale for that. Not only that, they're on Season 3 now. Season 3 of these games. So, obviously, this is done very well. Number 6, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. I like this one not because of the story, but mainly because of the multiplayer. The multiplayer was so addicting at the time. I probably played it for 8 months straight, and it was so good. And I got this game right when it came out, because I was excited for it. Because there were so many new mechanics, new guns. Well, that's always a difference. And it was such a step up from Call of Duty Ghosts that it was kind of a precursor to Black Ops 3, which, as you know, is a groundbreaking game. Zombies mode was okay, and I really liked the mechanics of the exosuit. The exosuit was executed perfectly, and it was a good tool for any player in the game. Not only that, with the Prestige, you just became so much better, and there were so many options to choose from for customization as well as characters, and it was just an endless amount of fun, really. Number 5, Grand Theft Auto 5. Kind of ironic that I put this one at 5. GTA 5 was probably the most groundbreaking game in the GTA series. GTA 4 focused a lot on story, but this one, it focused more on the player. How the player could have fun. In addition to always, blowing up stuff with rocket launchers, miniguns, or anything that makes other stuff go boom, you actually had underlying character depth. With Franklin, you had a criminal who was trying to get off the streets. With Michael, you had a criminal who was off the streets and under witness protection. And Trevor. This explains Trevor, pretty much. A criminal who was building his own empire. Or, sort of. Not only that, the online multiplayer still remains relevant to this day, with Rockstar always adding new DLC and new content to the game. And it's a title, like I said, that is still relevant to this day, even though it came out almost 3 years ago. Number 4, Halo Reach. Halo Reach has to probably be the saddest Halo game in all of them. Halo 4 was kind of sad with Cortana dying, but Halo Reach, sadder. Because not only is it the precursor to Combat Evolved, it's pretty much the end of the Spartan program with the Reach team. All of them die at the end, no matter what. And it's just sad. It really is. And it was heartbreaking for me to see this, to go through this game. And I gotta give it to Bungie. This was probably the best storytelling that they've done in a Halo game, ever. Number 3, Red Dead Redemption. Yes, another Rockstar game, but this one actually focused a lot more on storytelling, and again, it's a sad story. I gotta give it to Rockstar. It was heartbreaking to see John Marston die at the end. He had completed everything that the government had asked him to do, yet they still killed him in the end. And that's what is so sad about this game. And playing as John Marston is so much better than playing as Jack. Even though we do get a happy ending with Jack killing the government agent that killed John Marston, or had him killed. It's just a heartbreaking story of a man who is literally going for his redemption. He's being clean, he's being new, he just wants his family back. He's a married man that has a son, and all he wants to do is just look after his farm and reach his hope. And it's so sad to see him go, because we're never going to forget John Marston. Unless, that is, we get another Red Dead Redemption game, or another Red Dead game. I hope you do that. I really hope you do. Number 2, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. I like and I have most of the Assassin's Creed games. And this one is my favorite, because it tells a different story. Whereas all the other Assassins in the games, they're like, yeah, I want to be part of this. I want to be part of this. Whereas Edward Kenway, he's like, no, I don't want to be an assassin. He wants to be a pirate. He wants to get rich. He's all about the money. All about that money. And in the end, he does sort of get let into the assassin ranks, but he's like a freelance assassin, or like a mercenary. And for as big as the world is, I feel like it could have been bigger, but it's still perfect. Like, there's so many side activities to do, and so many places to explore. You can literally explore the depths of shipwrecks, as well as smugglers' dens. There are assassin contracts, there are naval contracts, and it really doesn't get any better than this. Assassin's Creed Rogue tried to further do that with more naval combat and land combat, but the story, I mean, for Assassin's Creed 4, it was pretty good, and was a pretty cool artifact to find, but Assassin's Creed Rogue was nowhere near as good as AC4. Number 1, Far Cry 4. I like Far Cry 4 because of the story and the underlying aspects. I'll start with the story. The story is, you play as Ajay Gale, or AJ Gale is the American pronunciation, and you're thrown into this country called Kyrat that's in the middle of a civil war, and you end up pretty much ending the civil war by killing the self-proclaimed King Pagan Min and helping out the Golden Path. And there are other choices. You can choose not to kill. You can choose not to kill Pagan Min, or you can choose to kill Amida or Sabal, the two head figures of the Golden Path. Either way, there really isn't much a difference if you choose either one to do, because either way, too many people die. Now, the underlying aspects that I'm talking about mainly have to do with religion. You're sent to protect a monastery in one mission. And what you end up doing is, you end up doing all these random acts that have to do with placing a flower somewhere, lighting some incense, spinning a money wheel. And you gain karma through this. It's good things. And you get discounts at stores if you have enough karma at a certain point. But there is also one other thing that is really crazy in this game. You get to visit a place called Shangri-La. A place that most people probably haven't heard of. It was originally a book about visiting Shangri-La, but it's this perfect place where you can reach peacefulness, and it's perfect for everyone. But it's being plagued by people called the Rakshasa, and you, as the player, or Kalinag in this instance, have to free the land of the Rakshasa. And it's very extreme in the religion aspects, unlike Far Cry 4 with the Rakyat. But in the sense, it's kind of the same story, but it just goes deeper in explanation about why. And I like this one because there are different game mechanics and there is more to the game, as well as the map being so much bigger. And it's just a masterpiece of too much to explain in what little time I want this video to be. And that's what I like about Far Cry 4. It's just too much to handle, yet so awesome at the same time. It's great. It's just a perfect game.